Hey everybody, I'm Trevor.
I'm Vincent.
And we are the Anthony and Todd Show, and today we're going to be checking out the latest J.I.D. album, Dicaprio 2. Des Root, aka J.I.D, is an Atlanta rapper. He was signed to J. Cole's label Dreamville. In 2017, he released his debut album, The Never Story, supported by its lead single, Ed and Eddie, which is actually really good track.
Ed and Eddie and Never were two singles from that are definitely fantastic. But other than that, I don't think there was really anything that was terrible, but nothing that stuck. Like, I didn't feel like he was coming into his own. It felt like he was still trying to find himself. And I thought that was weird that was his first record. Because it felt like more like a mixtape or just still trying to get ideas out there.
That's what I was thinking.
Which is weird going into this Dicaprio 2, which is his second studio album, a year after he dropped his last one. Mm-hmm. And I feel like on this record, he found himself.
I also think it's weird that this is the sequel to an EP, like the first Dicaprio EP.
No, it's the sequel to Leonardo DiCaprio.
This is the sequel to Titanic. Ooh. It's 14 tracks of 50 minutes.
But as a whole, I'm just really impressed about what J.I.D. did on this, because I felt like he just found himself and found territories to be in and found features that supported him, and overall made a very cohesive project that may not have a super ton of narrative structure to it or narrative importance to it or any narrative threads, but I think that was his I think as a whole it's fine. I just think there's nothing that propels this into a place that it's great. It's good. It's good. I just think I think he's even resemblant of that. I think I heard something where it just said he said this is like a shit ton of ideas.
Well, I mean, I don't think that J.I.D. is necessarily a storyteller.
Yeah.
I think with an album name like Dicaprio 2 and an album artwork like that, I don't think it's going to be necessarily like a story-based album. That's not necessarily like what he's known for. So, but I definitely think like he went in a really good direction on this.
Yeah. I think... Again, he's just finding himself and finding his attributes and showing off his technical skill, which is top notch on this. And I think very few rappers, at least this year, could stand to his ground, at least on technical skill. Because anytime I'm feeling like maybe this track won't pan out or something like that, he just blows me away with his technical skill. I think there's some moments where he's weak vocally throughout this entire thing, but anytime there's a moment where I doubt his skill or doubt why this track exists, he'll cut me off with like a really good verse that has really good flow, and he just dominates the track again. I think moments that he is vocally weak on, moments like Tied and Mounted Up, I just find he's just very flat. But there's also some good performances. I think on the action opener, Slick Talkin' on Strawberries, his vocals are actually pretty interesting. So I think there's a balance to it. I don't think he's entirely vocally flat through this entire thing. I just think the autotune doesn't really support his voice that well, and it just feels kind of flat and not really figured out. And there's other ends where I think it's more fully explored or is more melodic or is more annoying in a sense, so it just becomes more addictive, or he's trying harder, he's more passionate. I think there's two sides to it, so I'm not fully disappointed with his vocals on this. I think that just moments need some tweaking here and there. I think the features, all but Black, really are good. Like, Black was the only one that I was just like, why are you here? Yeah. Because he just literally shows up, has nothing new to say, just feels very flat, and then we get into LMI's feature, and she dominates the track. Yeah. Also, Black's vocals are like very kind of almost dub or like dance hall inspired, or they have that like metallic / island groove to them.
Yeah, we don't need that stuff.
Which didn't fit the track, or it just didn't fit him too. So it just kind of came out of nowhere.
Well, it didn't fit the track, and a track that already didn't fit J.I.D.
Yeah.
So like, I think Tide was just a sinking ship from the beginning.
With like a good end.
It definitely had a good end, because I think that the style that J.I.D. was going for on the track fits LMI really well, and so the two of those really, it meshed really well. But like J.I.D. on the track period, and then Black's like, let's make it dance hall. And then just the vote just sank. This was the basis for Titanic.
This is the beginning of Dicaprio. This is what propels him to stardom. But like, I think J.I.D. is actually the better vocals of
me too.
Black. Starting this thing off with frequency change is just a wonderful like made skit going through all these different television channels and all these various like shows that are on TV.
And it doesn't feel tired like the whole radio station bit can get.
Yeah. No, it's not a radio station, it's television.
I know. I'm saying like the whole like radio station thing that like most recently Vince Staples just used on his FM project. It's like not. It doesn't feel tired because I feel like that whole like radio station skit kind of thing is like, you know, we've seen it before, throw it out, whatever. But the whole television thing, like, it's essentially the same thing, but it doesn't feel tired.
Yeah, and it's also for this like one little instance too, so it's not over the course of the entire thing. But I like the shows that they present.
I love those shows.
Just like all the dumb, like the one skit where it was like a ripoff of a soap opera. It's like, I found someone else. I also found someone else. And they're going through like, there's this nature documentary that was in the hood. And it was just a bunch of rappers trying to show each other up. But it also reminded me, weirdly enough, of Romeo and Juliet. I don't know why it reminded me of the beginning of that. Probably because it's just called Dicaprio. But I just
Probably because the beginning of the new Romeo and Juliet flashes so many colors and images in your face that you don't know what's going on.
All I remember at the beginning of that film is it just like it documents either like a fight that's going down.
Yeah, they like fight at the gas station.
Yeah, something. But I don't know why that reminds me of this, but I felt that was just fitting because you're having a project called Dicaprio. I might as well reference him enough. I like how the beat transfers over well from frequency change and slick talk, and I love how J.I.D immediately like gets in your face and showcases you why he's so good. And that beat goes into another beat, and we see some of his vocals, which surprised me a little bit, which is nice. And then we hear another fiery verse and some more vocals. I thought that was really cool. The progression of everything and how it just flowed so well. I like Westbrook with A$AP Ferg. I like how A$AP Ferg doesn't really have a full verse. He's more in the hook because it makes
Take that, Ferg.
No, it makes the thing feel like a banger.
Yeah.
Like I feel like he had a set job of like, okay, hype man. That is your job here. You are doesn't need to be hype man because he can bring that intensity, and he has J.I.D's vocals are very nasally, and they don't sound, I guess, almost intimidating in a sense, in a weird way, or at least not in the same way I think like a hype man would have. And I think A$AP Ferg brings
does his job well,
and also it's that like Harlem almost like New York style brashness, a tone that J.I.D doesn't have. I think brings in this different element to make this track feel like a way more intense than, or way more powerful, intense, and like way more grooving than I feel like it would without Ferg.
I think that's like perfectly countered by the next track off Deez with J. Cole. They have like very similar styles. This is the obligatory J. Cole Dreamville feature.
You're mandated to have one.
J.I.D seriously shows off his technical ability on this. Like, he is incredible once he gets that speed up. But even J. Cole like hangs
steps
tough.
Up a game.
He seriously hangs tough.
I
like
hear the beginning of the verse. I'm like, okay, we're just gonna get normal Jake. Oh no, he's trying really hard to put over his fellow friend.
Yeah,
like,
why can't we get J. Cole like this all the time?
Yeah,
probably because he doesn't want J.I.D to step up on him on the Dreamville. Like he doesn't want Pusha to take over good music.
I felt like a chemistry between them two.
Me too.
It worked really well going the 151 run, which is just so intense, and he continues to prove off what's so catchy about him and what's so flamboyant and just being full force about it. Going into Off the Zoinkys, which is actually one of the better critiques of drug use the entire year, since we just mentioned J. Cole with KOD. That felt very lost at points. It felt super detached from what was actually going on. Where this feels very like intent of what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
It is full-hearted, invested in the subject that's talking about. It feels empathetic. It feels intense. It feels like how a critique of drug use in a time period where it seems like it's only getting worse. This seems important.
Yeah.
This is good. This is a good critique of it. It's not like to set up a dumb joke. It's not just doing it because it's popular. It's doing it because it actually means something. And especially, I think, post-Mac death, we're in a phase where it's getting only worse.
Yeah.
Skrawberries is good. But the only thing I have a problem with describing is BJ the Chicago Kid, which we mentioned our Anderson Paak review.
He only talks about Chicago.
He didn't on this track. I don't think he did it. I'm proud of him. But like his voice, I'm trying to figure out characteristics to describe it because it's not bad. I think it's really good. I've just been trying to figure out how you would describe it, because it reminds me of like Leon Bridges too, but I don't know how you would
It's brassy.
It's brassy. It's also, it feels like he's pronouncing or like talking and like not in his nose, but somewhere in his nose and the back of his throat. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know how you would describe that, but it just sounds like his pronunciation's more like
It's a very like forward sound, but it's also like if he pronounced all of your consonants with the back of your tongue.
Yeah, something like that, I guess. But yeah, I think those two work really well. I think BJ Chicago Kid has a fantastic vocal performance on that. J.I.D. continues to grab people that have only helped him so far in this, and I think after having Black on a track, I think it's good to bring it back with BJ Chicago Kid and have someone that actually resonates with J.I.D. and the topics that he has. Going into Hotbox with Method Man and Joey Badass, that's such like a separate area from where J.I.D. is, and I think it's really enjoyable.
Yeah.
Having like two New York rappers, having one old Method Man who's part of Wu-Tang, and then having one new with Joey Badass, I think that's just such a good look into a style that J.I.D. or a location where J.I.D. isn't.
Yeah.
I think that's just a cool like off place to go, and I think the different styles added this like different showcase. It didn't feel like a Lanta beat, didn't feel like a trap beat. It was straight up like a New York groove with this like simple piano sample, and that's it. I think that like style that he was trying to go for on the track, I think this album needed it. I think it added some like depth to it because of it, and I think the features he had on it work, and both Joey Badass and Method Man really showing what made both of them popular.
Yeah.
I haven't heard Method Man in forever. Apparently there's a new album coming out soon.
No, I also haven't heard of him. Or
You haven't heard of Method Man?
I've never heard of Method Man. There's a whole song about him. No, I haven't heard Method Man in a long time, actually.
I haven't heard of Method Man. My favorite album's 33 Chambers.
They're missing somebody. Something's missing here.
And then going on to like the closer of everything with Despacito 2. Such a dumb title, but such a smart title. It's memey, but at the same time, J.I.D. has a lot to prove in saying what he's going to do. It's saying not only in the track, but like referencing in the title that he's not just like Despacito 2, like the meme, like people have been proclaiming another Despacito, another popular track, but like saying that he's going to be that big in the title, I think is like
it's
super
really funny because it plays to like so many different fields here.
Yeah,
you know,
and just like I think this is just showcasing where he is, and I think Fall earlier. Talking about on just the other day, talking about it was just the other day he was here and doing this, and now he's famous, but he's still kind of
Despacito.
Now he's Despacito, and he has a different struggle, but like he's still having some of the same problems. But it was just the other day he was doing this.
Yeah. Now
he's doing this. And then Closer Hostile, I think it's just a nice banger that was a single, and I don't really have to say anything else about this. I just think overall, it's just if it wants to be better, if it wants to improve past this, just some better narrative throughout, or at least just a few more narrative moments that aren't past braggadocio.
Yeah,
and that's it. I think he does a really good job here. I think he improves on himself. I'm really impressed with what he did. He's formulating a lot of good tracks, showing a good showcase of technical skill, showing a good showcase of features, and there's only like a moment or two where I'm really disappointed in him that he doesn't prove himself later on. That's about it. I think he's coming into his own. I feel like this would have been the good first album. It's kind of weird that we're getting it now, but
I'm glad.
Better now
I'm actually glad that we got the Never story first, because it just shows where he came from.
Yeah,
and it shows like where he started, and then only a year later, came out with this. Also, though, we would never have gotten a track like Ed, Edd n Eddy or Never Story or Never.
No, I'm not saying the Never Story shouldn't come out. I said it would have been like.
No, this
make more sense to be like a mixtape or something.
Yeah, this would have been a great starting album. Yeah. But also, I still appreciate the Never story for what it showed, like what he came from.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm really impressed with this. I'm impressed out of 10. I don't think I really have anything else to say. I think this is a good showcase. Reminds me a bit of Anderson .Paak's latest album, Oxnard, because I felt like that was a showcase of him.
Very surprising as well.
Yeah. But yeah, if you want to hear us talk more about music, we have a weekly podcast called The Anthony and Todd Show on Apple Music and Spotify every week. The best of the show in audio form. Links down below in the description if you want to check that out. If you want to talk with us about music, there's a link to our Discord down below as well. And if you want to watch another video, I'm going to put our J. Cole KOD review on screen if you want to check that out. But until next time, guys, I've been Vincent.
I'm Trevor.
And see you, boyos.
Bye, everybody.